So winter is clearly here. You started your vehicle, it's warming up nicely, but the seat heater is just not doing anything. Let's go through the steps on how to pinpoint what the problem is. So let's start with the basics. Basic. Fuses. So right down here, let me get a light for you. Right down here, we have a little fuse compartment. Let's rotate this and look at number 15. We have the letter H/seat. That is for the seat heater. So let's verify if that fuse is in good shape. So it's in the middle row, 4 over from the left. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can simply pull it. One thing you may not know, if you need a puller, a lot of times they'll give you a puller right here, okay? So right here. And we can pull it and see what the deal is. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy. And then, let me get some more room here. So what you're looking for is a break in the fuse, typically at the 12 o'clock positions where you will find a break. Another option, if for some reason you cannot remove the fuse, or, hold on, if you can't remove the fuse, you can also use a multimeter. So on the multimeter, you have a lot of different options, but it looks like a Wi-Fi hotspot. That's what you want. That's continuity. And then if 2 points make a connection, okay, you hear an audible alert. So something you can quickly do as well, if you don't want to pull the fuses, and you're simply grabbing the 2 leads from the multimeter. Doesn't matter where the red lead and the black lead goes, just on the end of the fuse, you'll see a little piece of metal. So place one end on the left, one on the right. Okay, that's good. Next one. That's good. Next one, okay? Makes it super quick to test the fuses. Okay, a few things before we keep on moving forward. This section that we're working on is known as the under dash relay box. So we know certainly number 15 that deals with the seat heaters, that fuse is in good shape. Where we found the fuse puller, that's known as the under hood fuse box. Check on your vehicle. Maybe you have a fuse that deals specifically with the seat heaters. In my case, I don't. There is a 120 amp fuse that does deal with a majority of other things, but if that amp was, or that fuse was bad, I would also have a host of other problems. So just check the under hood box. Make sure you don't have a fuse specific for the seat heater. The other thing, some of you may not realize this, but there is a relay. This vehicle is 19 years old, and there is a relay that deals with the seat heaters. So if you look at number 30, number 30 is a fuse for the seat heater relay. Now, how do I know that? Because I have the manual for this vehicle, the repair manual. If it's the best $30 you will ever spend for your vehicle. 20, 30, maybe $40, but you have now a complete manual from the dealership. You can find them on older cars very easily. But that being said, if you don't want to spend the money, just grab the multimeter and just check every fuse one by one. And if you find one that's bad, you can just replace the fuse and cross your fingers. Maybe you found the problem. But I'm telling you guys, the best $30, $40 at most you will ever spend, get the repair manual for your vehicle. So we know that the fuse is good for the seat heater, the fuse is good for the relay, but now we need to check the relay. Now the relay lives somewhere here underneath the glove box. Not too hard to remove. So if you've ever replaced a cabin filter, this will be very familiar to you. Whoops. Make sure we don't lose anything. You squeeze around the 3 and the 9 o'clock. this comes down. There's 2 fasteners here in my case. And don't forget, if your vehicle is, this car's almost 2 decades old, and the plastics are still good, but you may break something. So keep that in mind. You want to be super gentle. You can use something like this, a trim removal set. As always, I'll link everything below. These are terrific. I've had these, gosh, I don't know, 7, 8 years. They haven't broken yet. Maybe 10 bucks. You don't need them necessarily in this case, but it just makes the job a little bit easier in terms of preventing a break anything. You see, a clip just fell there. Nice and slow, there we go. 2 connectors here. So every vehicle is different. Typically the relays, it all depends on the relay, but a lot of relays are quite easy to get to. This is maybe a little bit more. But the other thing I can also check, since we're here, is the cabin filter. Check this real quick. Maybe, not too bad, but nonetheless I gotta replace that. But if you look, we have 2 relays now. So we have 2 separate relays. I hope the sun glare is not blocking your view, but right here we have 2 relays. Now how do we know which one is which? Well, 2 ways really, in fact. Let me first remove this. Simply a pick, pressing this in. All right, and then right here you can get a needle nose plier. Okay. So because, like I said earlier, I have the repair manual, and on the manual it says the relay has, let me get a light here for you guys. There's a gray wire, there's a red and black wire, there's a solid black, etc. So I know this is, this is the right relay. But there's another way, which I'll show you in a moment, in fact, which will coincide with something else. This just pulls out. And there we go. There's the relay. Fortunately, testing a relay is super simple. So we have a power source. This is 12 volts. You can use your car battery. Just be super careful. If you don't want to bother with this, you could just buy some extra relays and swap it out. But you want to pinpoint where the problem is. That's the whole thing here. You want to pinpoint where the problem is. So if you look at the relay, we have 2 horizontal posts and 2 vertical posts. These are in tandem. In other words, when you test the relay, either you're energizing the 2 horizontal posts or the 2 vertical posts. So in other words, I'm taking power from here, from the battery, and energizing it. And we should hear a clicking noise. So positive to one lead, negative to the other. Nothing. Nothing is happening here. Let's check the other. Nothing. Now let's try the vertical posts. Now this should energize it if it's a good relay. You hear that? Let me get my little mic here. Okay, that's a good sign. But it's not 100% proof that the relay is good. So that's where this guy comes into play once again. Multimeter, same setting, continuity. Okay? With now the other 2 posts. Okay, these 2 posts are clear. Not these 2, the other 2. We just want to verify that we have continuity. In other words, inside here, it's essentially a switch. We want to make sure that the switch is working. So one lead goes here. Let me put this down so I don't screw this up. One lead on this post and the other lead on the second post. Okay, we have continuity. This is a working relay. Take away the power, there should be no continuity. Okay? Super, super easy. Now something else you can do just to verify that everything is up to par. On the multimeter, you want the volts DC setting, okay? Then I'm just going to turn on the ignition. And with the multimeter, we should be getting 12 volts where the relay lives. So we know that these 2 posts is where power is coming in. We can even see the red wire. So red from the multimeter on the bottom, And where's my black lead? Let's see if we have power coming in here. And we do. Okay, so we have 12 volts. So that verifies the wiring is good, no issues with fuses, etc. Now we know, whoops. I tell you, doing these videos, a little tough sometimes. So we know that this is getting power, and also we tested the relay. So really 2 more things to check. We have the on-off switches and the heater element itself in the seat. Now regarding the switches, if I press it down, this is something that it's not 100%, but it's just really fast as opposed to ripping apart the entire interior of your vehicle. But you see how the lights, nothing is turning on? And that's because right now, the relay is not installed. Now if I install the relay, the ignition switch is still on, so we're going to hear this click. Hear that? Not sure if that came through, but now, if we look at the switches, now they light up. Okay, so probably very high probability these switches are in good shape. So one final test you can do without removing those switches. So right now I still have the ignition key on. I'm taking the positive lead of the multimeter to the positive lead, the positive wire that leads into the multimeter. How do I know that? Again, multimeter. If I touch the red lead there and the black lead here, gosh, of course, the sun is kicking our butts here. Come on. I'll just do this, okay? Hope you can see that. Okay, that's 12 volts, okay? So that's where power's coming in. So we don't want that. I'm just going to place it here on the empty lead, okay? So let's just watch this. So right now I have the switch off, roughly 92 mega ohms. Don't worry about the numbers. Now I'm turning on the seat heater. Okay, instant. Turning it off, turning it on, turning it off. Okay, so this verifies that the switches are working. There is no need to rip this apart. We know that both of these are working in perfect shape. Last step is checking the heater element itself. So there's a heater element built into the seat. Some vehicles you can actually remove and replace it. Now to test it, I'm going to peel up this seat. So there's 2 fasteners in the front, 2 fasteners in the rear, and then we can peel up the seat here. Wife's lip gloss, okay. Now from under the seat, we have a lot of wires. Whenever you see yellow, that's airbag. Okay, so yellow, again, that's airbag. But because I have, again, the manual for this vehicle, I know precisely where the connector lives and that it has 3 wires. So this has more than 3, this one has 2. This is the one that we want, okay? So if you don't have the manual, maybe you can do some searching online. The flip side is you would have to follow where the wire is going because you have power seats, lumbar, etc. Get the manual. I mean, that's just the bottom line, okay? Makes your job a lot, or your life a lot easier. So here it is. And once again, with the multimeter, we're on continuity, the Wi-Fi hotspot. Coming down here, let me get a light for you guys. So this would tell us if the heater element in the seat is just bad. It's no longer good. Okay, sometimes they break. So here's the connector. Placing one wire here from the multimeter, another one here. Continuity. And the switch is off, the car is off, the ignition switch is off, everything is off. Continuity, continuity. So that simply verifies that everything is working perfectly. Okay. So in this case, I do not have a problem. I'm just doing this as a how-to, but ultimately check the basics. Fuses, relay, the switch, and then the heater element itself in the seat. Now, 2 options if the heater element is no longer good. On some vehicles, you can actually remove it from the seat and then install a brand new one. On older vehicles, or other vehicles I should say, you can't repair it. Maybe you can solder it if you want to try it. Otherwise you have to, it's probably cheaper just to replace the whole seat, to be quite honest. And you know, at that point, you know, do you want to spend the money just to have a warm bottom? Is it worth it? But ultimately, that's what you want to check. Those 4 things, you'll find it, and then hopefully you can tackle it.